Most of them are home or close to their homes. So as far as I know, that they're fine, they're being cared for.
So were they briefly stuck somewhere, or what happened to them?
I haven't heard that. I think just isolated in the town of Lyons with everyone else.
Do we know where the Boulder Creek is at this point? I know last night when evacuations went into place, it was at 5,000 CFS. This morning, 3,400.
So this morning, Boulder Creek in the downtown area is running at about 3,100 CFS. And to put that in context for you, normal CFS for that area is 100.
Do you have any information about the mountaineers that are apparently stuck on Long's Peak?
We do not have any information about them. They are in Larimer County.
Any thoughts on how much damage money-wise we're looking at?
I have no idea.
I think it's too early to tell right now. At this point, most of our agencies are still out trying to gather assessments and figure out where resources are needed, where people are stranded, et cetera. And so the cleanup has not even really begun, and that financial assessment is something that will come down the road because right now our focus is on public safety and making sure that everybody is okay and that our resources are dedicated to those types of issues, not necessarily the financial estimation.
What about the number of evacuations? They had 4,000, I guess, sheltering at home, 4,000 evacuated last night. Are those still in effect? What would you say to those people?
Yes, we are. That is still in effect. I think that was addressed by Ryan pretty clearly, that we have to have some evidence that the danger is over. And right now we're still above the level we want to be in terms of cubic feet per second. We still have a negative weather report that has us concerned. So it doesn't really make sense to lift that, have people go back, and then turn around 2 hours later and have to re-evacuate those people. So we're keeping that in place until we have better information.
Do you have any information as far as the structural integrity of your bridges? Are you worried about your bridges? Are they failing at all? What do you know about that?
We are worried about some of our bridges. We're getting reports from Public Works Department that they have some concerns about some of those bridges. And Kim, do you have a couple of those locations?
One of those locations is that Table Mesa and Broadway area that I told you. There is a pedestrian bridge there. Pavement is buckling in the area of 7th and University. And Heidi, do you have any bridges in the county you want to mention?
I don't have any specific bridges, but bridges are always a danger because that's where things get caught in the water, in the flow. So they very definitely are in danger.
Those people that are missing, not so much missing, but unaccounted for, any of those kids, are they all adults, do you know?
I haven't seen any kids.
check. It should be a line level feed. Okay, line level feed right there. Should be good. Should be it. Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, everyone's cameras and audio good to go? Okay, everyone here okay? All right, well, thanks for coming out this morning. My name's Jared Rigo with the City's Communications Department, and we really appreciate you coming on short notice to get the latest flood information and updates here from the City of Colorado Springs. Today we're going to be hearing from Mayor Bach, Chief of Staff Laura Newman, our Director of Emergency Management, Brett Waters, our Fire Chief, Chris Riley, and our Police Chief, Pete Carey.
Yeah, let's do it.
We're going to hear from a special guest as well. So right now I'd like to introduce Mayor.
All right, we interrupt programming to join a press conference live from the mayor of Colorado Springs talking about the flooding going on in our area. Let's join that press conference now live.
About the flooding we're seeing around the state. He's very concerned about what's happening here in El Paso County and in Manitou Springs. We're just really pleased to see the level of cooperation, the level of preparation here. Looks like things are running very smoothly, and there's great leadership, great teamwork here. So we just want to be here as part of the state to support the efforts of the local providers, and we're just pleased that at least the rain is now lightening up and things are looking a little bit better. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. First, our hearts go out to the friends and loved ones of Danny Davis, who lost his life a couple nights ago in this flooding, and our prayers are with him as well. I just want to say that we, of course, have been through challenging times in this region very recently with the Black Forest fire and the subsequent flooding after that, and of course back to the Waldo Canyon fire. Here we are once again with a very serious situation, and it's just important to pull together once again, which I believe we will as a community. Stick together, everybody help each other, and that will see us through. We are doing everything we can as a city 24/7 to try to respond as best we can to this situation. We have, I think, over 120 people who are deployed, many working 20-hour shifts. I'm very proud of all of our staff, and also proud of, as the Lieutenant Governor said, of the cooperation between our city and El Paso County, state of Colorado, and federal resources that have been deployed. I think there is a seamless operation here. We're learning every time we go through a new situation, I think even more. So I just want to urge all of my fellow citizens to be careful, stay alert. This situation, I understand, will continue for some time, at least I think through the weekend, from what I've been told. And you'll hear more in a minute from Laura Newman and Brett Waters about that. So there's no reason to panic, but certainly we all should be alert wherever we are. Avoid areas of pooling water on streets and elsewhere, and be prepared to move to higher ground. So this is a time for all of us to tune in your favorite TV or radio station, or both. And let's hang together through this. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're going to hear next from Chief of Staff Laura Newman, and just want to say again, if I didn't say at the outset, there will be time for questions following the presentations.
Thank you, Jared. Good morning, everyone. As Mayor Bach mentioned, we do have approximately 120 staff that have reported in since Wednesday evening. Those staff consist primarily of police, fire, our streets division, as well as miscellaneous support staff from the city. It has been a very well organized and coordinated city response. I think many people wonder about the damage that has been done to our city infrastructure. That damage assessment is well underway. Overnight, our streets worked round the clock to remove debris, trees, and boulders from our thoroughfares. The sediment debris ponds that we developed in response to the Waldo Canyon fire did serve their purpose. They are filled, all of them, with debris, but they did serve the purpose that they were intended. All of our bridges, particularly those around Cheyenne Creek, are currently being inspected by our engineering team. Our transit team did step up to assist in the relocations that occurred overnight. And several park closures do remain in place today. As the weather changes, we may reopen over the weekend, but those include some pretty high-profile parks, North Cheyenne Canyon, Rockledge Ranch, and particularly Garden of the Gods. We will give you further updates to the situation with the city via press release unless the incident changes and we feel the need to hold another media briefing, but that's how we will update from this point forward. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Laura. Now I'd like to invite up Director of Emergency Management, Brett Waters.
Thank you, everyone. Let me just add that, as many of you are, in the last year, we've done extensive planning on flood response, as well as exercises, and conducted studies working with our partners on essentially where we think debris and water are going to go. That's been very helpful for us. We can't overemphasize the importance of the flood mitigation work the mayor's emphasized over the last year since the Waldo Canyon fire, again, along with El Paso County, many partners, but that work is paying dividends as we speak. There's been extensive coordination with the County Emergency Operations Center. You should know that the City Emergency Operations Center, with numerous agencies involved, has been open since the inception 24 hours a day, working with our partners from the state and the federal government as well. We have done notifications. Many residents have got those notifications through the emergency notification system numerous times. We want to be very cautious when we send those out, but we want individuals to be aware of the risk. Obviously, there was some residents who did relocate in certain areas in the last 24 hours. We remind residents, as the mayor talked about, to be aware of the information they need to make good decisions for themselves and for their families. We talk about relocation, getting to high ground, not driving through areas that could have pooling water, or in particular running water. But the safety, ultimately, we want individuals and families to be informed, be prepared, and be educated. As we move further into the forecast, again, we do have possible rainfall in the foreseeable future. As we study flooding events historically, this is a very dangerous time because the ground is saturated. If we do get more extensive rainfall, it could be treacherous, and so we want to make sure, again, individuals and families are prepared, and you can assure that we will have our agencies out in force in supporting this event.
Thank you, Brett. Now we'll hear from our brand new Fire Chief, Chris Riley.
Good morning, everyone. The first thing I want to say, the safety of the community has been and will continue to be our #1 priority. Currently, the Colorado Springs Fire Department has deployed one task force made up of 4 apparatus and 13 additional firefighters. Those additional firefighters have comprised 3 engine companies in the impacted areas patrolling for hazards, and one of our priorities is situational awareness 24/7. 4 Colorado Springs heavy rescue technicians have been deployed to the City of Denver up to the National USAR, or Urban Search and Rescue team up there to assist those that have been impacted by the devastation up in Boulder. From Wednesday through this morning, we've had a total of 3 rescues and the 1 fatality, tragically, that was mentioned earlier by Mayor Bach. We have been involved with the operations in the Emergency Operations Center since the inception, and I want to commend the efforts of all of our first responders for their world-class service to this community they provided during this catastrophic and devastating incident. I also want to thank the community for listening to the warnings that have been issued from the start of this incident. I also want to thank you, the media, for the job you're doing, getting the information out to the community, which is truly a mission-critical part of this devastating incident. In terms of reassurance, we're all very well aware that this situation could possibly get worse. We're obviously hoping it will not get worse. We have a dedicated team staying vigilant as to any new developments. Please understand that this is a dynamic and evolving incident, and we're doing our best to stay on top of things and want to provide you information as necessary. Also, please stay clear of the Fountain Creek or any running water hazards. Lastly, as I said before, this is a catastrophic and devastating incident. We will continue to monitor things closely. Please do not hesitate to access 911 if any emergency or anything evolves in your presence, and be safe out there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. And lastly, before we go to questions, we'll hear from Police Chief Pete Carey.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. A quick update on what CSB has been doing on this flooding situation. Throughout the night, last night, today, and for as long as it takes, we'll have community service officers and police officers in the areas that are most affected. We're assisting citizens and monitoring the areas for any other crimes or situations involving the water. Generally, the area that we're mostly concentrating on is the area around St. Elmo and Cheyenne Road. Both police officers and community service officers are manning traffic control posts, static observation posts, and they're doing roving patrols. There are bridges along Cheyenne Road over Cheyenne Creek that are closed for an assessment of damage. I'd also want to let you know that we're handling calls in the rest of the city as we normally do. Please stay close to media reports, and please stay out of the affected areas. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chief Carey. Now we do have time for some questions. Please just raise your hand and let us know who the question is for, and we'll start with Scott at KRDO. Question was a general update on evacuations.
The areas are approximately the Fountain Creek RV Park on the west side of town around 31st and Highway 24. There was a number of people that voluntarily evacuated from there last night, and the areas down by Cheyenne and St. Elmo. At last count, we had approximately 12 people that had chosen to evacuate and are staying at an evacuation center, so around 12 or so.
All right, anyone else?
Another question I'll ask you.
Sure.
How are you guys doing with resources? How's the city doing with resources and being able to handle something like this? Something's probably going to happen repeatedly. It has been happening repeatedly in the area. It's probably going to continue to. So how are you guys doing with resources? Do you feel like you have everything that you need? Do you feel like you need to try to apply for federal disaster money to help pay for some of the costs of doing all this? Or not?
All right, now the question was regarding city resources.
At this time, and we can invite Chief Raley and Chief Carey up as well to address the question, but overall city resources, there has been very limited mutual aid needed at this time. It's generally been handled with existing city resources, and then we'll ask the chiefs to come up with any additional information. We also are going to seek out any federal funding available as far as the declaration process goes, and that is oftentimes reimbursement for certain amounts of costs and infrastructure damages. We will be seeking that out, similar to what occurred in the Waldo Canyon Fire, Black Forest Fire as well.
All right, Bill.
I know you're checking the bridges, but is there any kind of laundry list starting of damage? Is there any obvious damage we're seeing? Is there anything that's large, or is it going to be a big list of small things? Do we have an idea?
All right, the question is regarding damage to bridges.
Or bridges or anything?
Bill, thanks for the question, but we've just started the damage assessment at daylight this morning, and so we're not prepared to talk about what that assessment is exactly, but we will be prepared to update you later on this afternoon.
All right, well, thank you, Laura, and thanks to everyone for coming out. I know some of the folks will be available for one-on-one interviews here after the process. Just continue to thank you guys for your reporting and your support and getting the information out to the people. We really appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, so you've been watching a live press conference from the Colorado Springs Fire Department headquarters. Mayor Bach speaking, a number of other officials, Pete Carey, the new fire chief, Chris Riley. A few things they touched base on. Damage assessment is underway on several bridges that cross the Cheyenne Creek area. Cheyenne Creek is the one area that was really hammered, and that creek is seeing levels that it hasn't seen since the 60s. I was actually out there this morning talking with some folks, and the fire department was out there, and they were talking about how they were going to make assessments on these bridges, but they needed the water to subside a little bit so they could actually get underneath and look at those bridges. Sediment ponds that the city put in place after Waldo Canyon, they did report at this press conference that those ponds worked very efficiently and that they worked to the best that they know. The parks that they've closed, North Cheyenne Canyon, Rock Ledge, and Garden of the Gods all remain closed. The good news is the flash flood watch has been canceled for Teller and El Paso counties. The weather is expected to change this afternoon. We could see rain again between the 4 and 8 o'clock hours. Again, that is supposed to be more isolated as opposed to some of these heavy soakers that we've been receiving. It's still a mess up to our neighbors in the north, Boulder County. Just a little while ago, they held a press conference, those officials up there, and they talked about 20 people that are now unaccounted for up in Boulder County. President Obama has given federal aid to El Paso, Larimer, and Boulder counties. That was made last night. Of course, we will continue to follow this story and update you throughout the day. We'll have the crawl at the bottom of the screen if anything changes, and if things get worse, we of course will break into programming and let folks know what's going on. We'll also have our meteorologists on standby with regard to anything that pops up on the radar or potential storms that could move into obviously a very saturated area. For now, we return you to a regular scheduled program. You can also get updates on our website, fox21news.com, Twitter, and our Facebook pages will all have information throughout the day. Thank you.